Hello, there you are.
Hello, I am here. And you are here.
Yeah, I'm having a delicious OG sparkling Fresca in honor of our good friend Ainsley Hayes.
Amanda,
Bull. Oh my gosh.
look at this. Can you
True
hear
sisters.
that?
True sisters.
True sisters. Law.
Look at that.
In law.
Sisters-in-law. Look at that.
That Fresca.
Dang, dude. Well, I'm still getting through that 24 pack of Fresca I bought at Sam's Club for $11 last week.
You're not done with it?
I'm not because I traveled. If I was here for an entire week, then I would be able to get through for sure 24 Fresca. For sure.
Because what's that? 3 a day? That's like the football of soda drinking. 3 a day.
7 days in a week. 3, and then some days would be 4.
Yeah, but just on weekends.
Yeah, just on weekends. That's right.
Yeah.
The OG Sparkle.
Supported by Ainsley Hayes and Only Show Fans Podcast, but not sponsored by Fresca.
Yet. Not sponsored yet.
1, 2, 3. Hi, I'm Maggie,
And I'm Amanda.
and we're sisters in law.
And we're watching the beloved political procedural The West Wing. It's a show so nice, I've watched it twice.
And a show so great, I'm watching it late. Thanks so much for tuning in.
It's only show fans. Only show fans. It's only show fans. Only show fans.
This is The West Wing, Season 2, Episodes 11 through 14.
What a doozy these 4 episodes were, which is what I say every week.
They're going to keep getting doozier. I hate to break it to you, or I can't wait to surprise you. It's nothing but a bunch of big old doozies on The West Wing.
Well, light me up a big old doobie, because these are doozies. And
Let's
they're
do
all
it.
about drugs. Well, no,
hear-
there's a lot of things.
Let's hear your brief.
This 4-pack of episodes was jam-packed with relationship blunders and political fumbles. Toby's flirtatious rivalry with a Republican chief of staff and his pride bite him in the butt. And Ainsley bossa novas in front of her ultimate bossa of the United States. Sam is scared of the big bad New York Times. Josh and Donna are polling well, but the president and FLOTUS need some relationship medical attention amidst a looming hostage crisis. Will our favorite Western crew keep their relationships hostage, or will they simply release a violent drug cartel leader to set other real-world and more dire hostages free while keeping their personal lives in limbo? Season 2 is winding down, but the drama is heating up.
Dang, girl. You know what's so interesting is that you said Season 2 is winding down, but it's really not because there's like 22 episodes. There's still so much more. It's going to probably... Look, there's a lot coming in this one too, in this season. It's going to wind up a little bit more before it winds down.
I'm so used to modern TV where it's like 10 episodes in a season.
Or like 8 episodes total, like it's a limited series.
And now I'm on episode 14 and I'm barely halfway through.
Yeah, I saw an interview with Allison Janney, and she was on the Monica Lewinsky podcast. And they were talking about the West Wing and her working with, of course, our one and only Bradley Whitford, and how they're now working, together on The Diplomat. Season 4 is coming in October, by the way. Maybe we'll do a separate something extra for that. And she was talking about the difference in back then with 21, 22, 24 episodes that they would do over and over every single year, and how different the world is of television now. And also, like, there's not even pilot season anymore. It's so different.
Yeah, they just like pick things up and then they throw it to the wolves fully formed, and then they're like, oops, now we'll see you next year or in 2 years for the next episode, next season of this.
No. Not happening back then. Not happening.
And not happening now, because I am strictly binging shows from the early 2000s from now on.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's hear some of your thoughts. I've got some stuff ready to go for you, but I want to hear from a first-time viewer what you think about these episodes.
Okay. These episodes had a lot of awkward moments, which as an awkward person, I loved. I think one of the first and most relatable was that everyone is getting in awkward situations with Karen Cahill from the New York Times. Like, she's just killing it with this staff. First, Leo comments about her shoes, and he's like, gosh, Sam Seaborn, you need to go apologize about that to her. So Sam goes to apologize to Karen Cahill. While he's there, he makes a blunder with the name of a country, which is relatable because I often mix up names of countries.
Yes.
So he's like, gosh, I'm so embarrassed. So then he sends Donna, and Donna kills it. Donna's like, we had the best conversation. At an art show, she's just like, yeah, I nailed it. Until she gets a package of her panties from Karen Cahill because she wore pants, had underwear in the pant leg she didn't know about, and that underwear dropped right in front of Karen Cahill, and her staff delivered it to poor Donna.
Depo, has that ever happened to you? Has your underwear ever fallen out of your pants in public and you didn't know, or did you know? Either answer will suffice.
Trigger warning.
I'll go ahead and say this now and I'll edit in. For those who are listening, this is a trigger warning. Maggie's about to tell a story about a period, and you can listen or you can fast forward about 2 minutes.
One time at sleepaway camp in middle school, I got my period and I wasn't prepared. And instead of asking an adult or coach for any help, I wadded up a piece of paper, toilet paper. And then I was playing basketball and running around. And that bloody wad of paper just fell out of my underwear onto the court. And I had to act like I didn't know where it came from. What was that? I'm on defense. I don't know what that is, but I watched the ref just like gasp and kick it off the court. So, I related to Donna. I related heavily to all of these moments.
And is that a story you want me to keep in the podcast, or?
I don't care. I mean, I think that we all have an awkward period story from middle school.
I do too, but I'm not going to tell it because you've done that for both of us.
Yours is different, I'm sure, but it's the
Very
same.
different.
The spirit is the same. And I just think this next gen of girls, they're like confident about their bodies and what's happening. And they're wearing like period underwear and they're just really killing it. And I wish that I was part of this generation.
But you're not.
But I wasn't and I'm not. And so instead I have
true.
an embarrassing period story.
I'm not going to tell my period story. Like I said, you did that for both of us. I do have a story as an adult where I had on a thong that was pretty uncomfortable. And it really felt like a permanent wedgie. And it was with some business pants. I like to wear a business suit. And I was doing some training. This is like 20 years ago when I was first starting out as maybe 25 when I was a Dale Carnegie instructor. And I had taken the thong off because it was really bothering me. But it was really cold outside. And so I stuck it in my like wool coat pocket, my outerwear coat. And I'd gone into the training facility where I was facilitating 50 people. And for some reason, the heater wasn't working. Like, it was really cold. So a lot of us were wearing our coats inside of the room that day. And this is for professional development. If anybody knows what Dale Carnegie is, it's been around for over 100 years. And I used to be an instructor. And I did something in my pocket to like pull out a pen or a dry erase marker or whatever. And that thong did come out of my pocket as an instructor to 55 professionals of the Dale Carnegie course.
55?
Yes, there's always 55 people in the class. I think sometimes 50, but it's like the max of like was 55 in the class. So that happened to me in my 20s. Was confident, then still embarrassed because I had taken it off in the bathroom because it was just bothering me. And I was like, well, if I'm going to have my coat on while I'm teaching, nobody's going to know. Well, I wasn't going to throw. It's good enough to not throw away, right? And that's the lesson. The lesson is throw it away.
Just throw it away. If it's bothering you today, it's going to bother you tomorrow. Throw it away.
I don't know. I had a hard time doing that, but boy, oh boy.
Yeah, I loved all these awkward things because I think everyone does have an embarrassing, awkward interaction, and it's nice to think that your friends and coworkers would go to bat for you, and then they would have increasingly embarrassing moments. support, ultimate support.
So, fun fact in this episode, the columnist that they have in the episode is based off of a real life journalist columnist named Maureen Dowd. And what's interesting about Maureen is Maureen used to date Aaron Sorkin. And so he pulled this character very closely from his former girlfriend, Maureen, and wrote this character in as his girlfriend. So that's like life imitating art, imitating Sorkin's dating life, you know? So we've seen this a lot. Sorkin likes to pull from the real world, and then West Wing Sorkinisms make their way into the zeitgeist of politics.
It's just a loop.
It's a big old loop.
So do you think these things really happened and Maureen was telling Sorkin, like, oh my gosh, the president's chief of staff said something like so off the cuff, and then I ultimately
I don't know
had
if they
someone's underwear?
did.
No.
I don't know. It's hard to tell because they're not married, so there's not a spousal privilege there. So it would be interesting if she was doing that. I don't feel like she'd be a very good stand-up journalist to disclose that information without them actually being legally married. So, you know,
About like
that's
an
really
awkward
the reason
moment?
that I'm interested in getting married, is that I can just spill the beans to somebody with spousal privilege, right?
But that's not like war plans or something. That's just like I had the most awkward interaction with Josh Lyman's assistant. She was talking to me, great conversation, but when she left, her underwear was on the floor. Like that's not like secrets.
Right.
That's,
But if you start with something small, it will continue. You will develop the habit, and you will continue to progress. Then all of a sudden, we're sharing big time secrets.
I guess. Okay, other favorite awkward moment from this. Ainsley desperately wants to meet the president.
So bad,
but she's also terrified to meet the president. And she sits in some paint, so she's wearing a bathrobe in her office after a State of the Union that went really well. She's doing a great job. She's drank a little creme de cacao, and she is dancing to bossa nova, and she's
Blame it on
having
the
a
bossa nova. Yeah.
good time. She's just letting it loose, just having a good old time. And all of a sudden, Sam Seaborn comes, and you're like, yeah, come on, Sam, come dance with her. Why isn't he dancing? Knock, knock. The president of the United States is right behind him to meet Ainsley, and she is just mortified. And she asks for a redo, and she gets it. But at this redo, she has to go to the bathroom, and she's in Leo's office. She goes into what she thinks is the bathroom. It's a closet. And as she's in there, the president comes out. And now everyone's like, why is Ainsley trying to pee in the closet? This girl is a hero.
You gotta love her you have to love her awkwardness.
I do.
But
I
you've
love
got to
her
be
so much.
starstruck if you're meeting a president. Have you ever met a president, Maggie?
I have.
Oh,
Twice.
let's hear it.
I did Teach for America in Dallas. And so I met George W. Bush twice.
Okay.
And both times when I got in the greeting line to shake his hand, you have to like say hello, like, and then you say your name. And I had a hard time saying my name because it doesn't roll off the tongue. So it's just like, hello, thank you for having us. My name is Maggie Reith. And then the next time I was like, I'm going to say it clearly because that was a mumble jumble. And I was like, hello, thank you for having me. My name is Maggie Reith. And then you're gone. And then you're like, I fucked it up. I messed it up. And I didn't even I wouldn't even voted for him. And I was still starstruck. He's charming
starstruck.
in person.
Charm and Dub.
He is.
Charm and Dub. Yeah. I've met
Have
him
you
a few
met a
times.
president?
I've met Dub a couple of times. My most notable president meeting, though, was not George W. It was in the early 2000s. Like, we're talking like 2007, 2008 or whatever. And it was a Saturday morning, and I went to go get Starbucks. And we had just had an improv show the night before. We were having 2 shows back to back. This is my first improv troupe that my brother, your husband, was a part of, as well as some other people. It was called Sucker Punch Improv. And we'd had a big show, and I had just finished counting all the cash from the money we made. I was real excited. We'd made like $1,000 on an improv show, which was like
Oh
a
my
big
God.
deal.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
And I go into Starbucks, and as I'm in Starbucks, I'm like, there's not really anybody in here. This is weird on a Saturday morning. And like, all people are starting to just leave. And then I had noticed that it was hard to find a spot. I was like, why are all these Suburbans here? But I was a little hungover from a show, right? We don't drink before, we drink after. And I came in, and as I'm walking in, all these people are leaving, and all of these other men in suits are starting to come in, and then they're starting to talk about me. They're like, looks like she's alone. It's okay. She's the last one in. And so I turn around to figure out like what's happening, and there's one person standing in front of me, and he turns around, and it's President Bill Clinton. And I said, you know, hello, Mr. President. It's so nice to meet you. He goes, good morning. I go, my name's Amanda Austin. He goes, hello, Amanda Austin. And I said, I don't know if you like improv comedy, but Sucker Punch Improv has a show tonight at 7 p.m. and started to like rattle off all the instructions. He goes, I'm going to be gone by then, but thanks so much for the invite. And he goes, enjoy your day. Somebody on his team paid for my coffee, and that was it. And I got my coffee and just kind of like stood around. Here's the thing. After I invited him to the show and then he did not want to come to the show, we didn't have anything else to talk about because I made it awkward, which is exactly what happens for any improviser when they ask somebody to come to their improv show and they make it awkward. Like I had no idea that this was me seeing into what my future was going to be, trying to invite people to an improv show for years as a comedy club owner. So that was my one experience, but you know me, I'll shoot my shot. So that is my story about meeting President Clinton. Yeah, I know exactly. It was the Starbucks. It's now like a local coffee shop, but it's at Inwood and Northwest Highway. Yeah, no, I mean, I know exactly which one it was. It was on a Saturday morning. I still had on my Sucker Punch Improv t-shirt that we had made on cafepress.biz or whatever website, you know? Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
You didn't know this story?
No.
Okay.
No.
I don't think I've told it very much. Yeah.
That's awful. That's, you know what? That's
so
worse
awful.
than my trigger warning. Amanda's about to tell a story that will make improvisers sweat.
Hell yeah.
If you're an improviser, fast forward for the next 2 minutes because this is incredibly uncomfortable to hear.
It's uncomfortable because it's so real.
It is. The enthusiasm of an early day improviser is like unmatched, unrivaled. Get an early improviser on your staff and pretend that work is improv because they're going to be all in. They're going to be there every night. Yes, ending all the ideas. You know what I'm saying?
And they're going to ask for the sale.
They're going to ask for the sale. They're going to see the president and they're going to be like, you need to support this company.
Yeah. Butts and seats.
Butts and seats. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Speaking of comedy, speaking of improv, there was also an awkward moment. It wasn't funny, but it was with a comedian. CJ has to go and tell a comedian that he can't be the MC for an event because he had told a joke that the president did laugh at. CJ told the entire world that the president did not find the joke funny because it was about a police officer and they felt like it was too spicy. This was awkward, but I appreciated how well the comedian handled it because it's hard to be a comedian out there getting feedback like that.
It's also hard to be that person that says, I'm sorry, you can't do this because one, your comedy isn't funny or you're not for us or we've gone another direction. That is a role I have done many times and it's awful because you know somebody really is trying hard. And so to kind of crush that, whether it's momentarily or if it shuts down their dreams forever.
Yeah. But the comedian, he was funny. And CJ was like, you are funny. And the president did laugh at the joke, but the optics of it couldn't have him be there, which is even worse.
Totally. Okay, we got a little bit of a Donna and Josh situation. Do you want to talk about this?
Yes, because I did ship them the last episode, or this season.
You shipped them.
They're coming.
You shipped them. And then Donna is pushing real hard to get Josh to ask out Joey Lucas, who played by Marlee Matlin. So
yes.
Now what are you thinking? After you shipped it, you trying to pull that boat back in?
Well, I think Joey explains it when she's talking to Josh after the polling. Joey's like talking about the polling and Josh is like, we have to stop talking about gun reform because we're going to lose these districts. And she's like, no, you have to talk about it more. You have to dial it up. And the analogy she's using as she's explaining this is also about Donna because Donna likes him and he needs to dial it up because that's why Donna's pushing Joey so hard because Donna actually has a crush on Josh. And so it's funny that Joey is back and the polls are saying Josh and Donna going to get together. And they have a history that I kind of inferred in season 1 when she was like, you've been in my house, you've yelled, you're scared by cats. And now I hear Josh talking to Sam as if like this whole Donna thing, he's been on purpose sabotaging her relationship because he does not want her to date someone else.
Right. Well, we'll see. You've predicted it. I can't confirm or deny. Just curious what you were thinking on this
How
one.
do you feel about relationships with staff like that? He's her
I think
superior.
that the superior thing can be tricky. I think what's interesting, I've seen this talked about a lot, like on LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever. There's a camp that says absolutely not, and then their camp is like, where the hell else are you going to meet somebody?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, because you spend so much time at work that like workplace romances are actually quite frequent because you have something in common enough to be okay working for the same company, or maybe you both end up hating the same company and then you can vent about it, But this is where you spend most of your time, your waking hours from the age of like 22 to 65.
Yeah. It is interesting, though, too. It's like nowadays, I feel like it's frowned upon for like a boss to date a subordinate because of the power dynamic. But I do think back to like previous generations. It's like, oh, they were my boss, or like they were like my principal at the school I worked at, or whatever. They were the
As long as
doctor.
you move
and
them
I
out
was the
into
nurse.
move them into a different department,
So where's Donna gonna go? Or
I
was
didn't
this
say
before that? I think this was pre that. Maybe she'll still be his assistant. They're gonna have to keep it on the down low. I don't know. Prediction town.
Prediction time,
there.
save it. We'll get there. Okay, what else we have here?
Some other blunders. Toby has a lot of them in these 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Like some serious miscalculations, which reminds me of how he said he's never won an election. I think he's brilliant. He's so smart, but maybe he shouldn't be in this role because he does kind of have this air of this is the moral high ground, but then sometimes the politics of it are not, they don't play that way. Like he is eating breakfast with this woman who is the new chief of staff of the Republican leader in the Senate, I think. And it seems like they have a history, and he says some things that are pretty bold and strong as if he's talking to a friend, and those things get turned around on him as if he is threatening the Republicans if they don't come to the table, and what could have been just a real small, nice, cordial. A nice cordial thing ends up being a big old disaster because he underestimates that chief of staff. And then also he meets with this guy Sam Gillette, who is adored by the left and the environmentalists, even though he's like from South Dakota. And so Toby's like, he's South Dakota, he can't get anyone to vote for his stuff. But the way that Toby is talking about it, he's pretty smug about all of it, and Seth threatens to run third party, which would really F up a second term for the POTUS and his staff.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Dang.
Toby blunders.
Then we have the State of the Union and hostage situation.
Which is a big part. It's like 2 episodes.
Yeah, and I want to talk about these 2 episodes real quick, fun fact, because the episode 13 is Bartlett's third State of the Union. That's the name of the title. And then episode 14 is called The War at Home. And episode 13 is one of the only West Wing episodes that was co-written by women in the writer's room at the time, and it's credited to Allison Abner and Dee Dee Myers, also along Sorkin. He was also a writer. Now, Dee Dee Myers was a real former White House press secretary under Bill Clinton. Met the dude, which is a big reason why like the show's press briefings always felt pretty like realistic, because she was part of that writing team. Another thing about it, Bartlett's third State of the Union and The War at Home, it was intentionally written and shot as one continuous 90-minute story split across 2 broadcast weeks. So this wasn't like a coincidence. The writers chose to do it this way, so they wrote and shot it that way and split it over 2 weeks, 2 Wednesday nights.
Which is rare in this show. Very rarely do we get like what happens immediately next. Usually it's a huge time jump, right?
Yeah, they assume that you know what's happened and you're keeping up with it, or they just make some assumptions about the viewer being smarter than we are.
Right, like we go from Thanksgiving to Christmas in 1 week's time.
1 episode, yeah.
But this time we sat with it, which I think was good because it was a lot to process. I long for the State of the Union of season 1, where it was just simple and there was a Declaration of Independence in Latin gifted to us by a very nice man designated survivor. And this one, like, everything seems to be going well, but it also is behind the scenes a real shit show.
Total shit show.
So
You know what they
stress.
say? Third time's a charm.
But not in this case. This was
Not
the
in
third
this
time's
case.
a bomb.
Yeah, this one's a big one, which I think is interesting. It's also, he says some stuff in the State of the Union that makes FLOTUS realize this guy's going to run for president for a second term. My
This
husband
asshole.
said he would not, and now he's going to do it because he indicated some things. Some things were indicated in the State of the Union address, and she was pretty PO'd. That's short for pissed off for all you kids out there.
Yeah. Pissed off of the United States. The POTUS.
She was pissed off at POTUS. FLOTUS was pissed off at
Yeah.
FLOTUS was PO'd at POTUS. I guess we would say.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And I think most of it was that he went to the middle on so much stuff. He wasn't fighting for Social Security. He wasn't fighting for environmental stuff. He was going to the middle, which is indicating that he's trying to win over a larger swath of people as opposed to running on what he wanted to get done.
Right.
Which to her is like not just, oh, you promised me because I don't want to be the first lady for 8 years. He has MS.
MS.
And he has like 2 years left before it starts affecting his cognitive ability, his physical ability, who knows what else. And
Yeah.
not to mention like the fever and the spells, and he could die. It's irresponsible for him
Yeah,
to run,
well, it's-
is what she's saying.
The relapsing remitting part of it, like the relapsing of it all is going to happen.
Yes.
He can't get through another term and a half without at least an episode, if not multiple.
Right. Yes. And then it's going to come out in the public. But it is interesting to think about, like, you know, we talk about presidents should release their medical records and their tax records. We should have a good understanding as the people of not just what they're saying on the stage, but what's going on behind the scenes and how they act and who they are, because we're voting for someone who's going to lead the country, and we want them to be in good health, and we want them to be mentally fit, and we want them to be honest people when they're doing taxes, because we have to be honest when we do our taxes and all of these things. And honestly, I'm very disappointed in Bartlett. I hadn't even thought about it. Of course, I was like, he's going to run for a second term because everyone does. But then when she was talking about his MS, I was like, you're right, Rizzo. As always.
Rizzo's always right. She's a pink lady. She knows.
She's got the Riz. Oh.
She got the Riz.
Are the kids still saying that? I don't know.
I think so. I don't know.
Maybe they'll start saying Rizzo. Meanwhile, so he gets the State of the Union. Everyone's patting him on the back. What a great job. Everyone loves it. Power's out for polling, so they can't figure out what's going on. And then there's a hostage situation. A bunch of DEA agents have been kidnapped. We think that's pretty bad. They make the decision to go in stealthily to get them out, and then it's an ambush. The president says it's basically like they've been tricked by, your shoe's untied, and then the flick of the nose. Or you have something on your shirt. That's
Right.
what these guys have done, and the United States loses 10 members of their service.
No wonder he started smoking again.
I know. Smoking, I've heard, is coming back.
It is.
Yeah.
Do you think it started coming back because of the show Love Story? And they smoked all the time in that show?
I don't know. I don't know why it's coming back, but I dared to say no to drugs. Dared to stay off of them. And so I will not be using cigarettes. I don't think a lot of millennials smoke. I think it's like Gen X, a lot of Gen X smoked, and now it's Gen Z is smoking. Maybe it's just like the letters.
Oh, sure. I don't know. I have heard that smoking is coming back just a little bit. I don't know anybody who really smokes anymore. I do know people who vape still.
Yeah,
I just don't
vapor
know any-
sins or something.
Yeah. No, I got Gen X friends who vape.
Yeah.
They were former smokers and now they vape. So
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they didn't say no. But it is a point that Bartlett makes is like, it's not working. The war on drugs isn't working. We're fighting it here because everyone's buying these drugs, and we're fighting
Right.
it there because they're violent criminals and they're trying to kill our DEA agents. So, like, what are we doing? I've inherited this problem. And he puts Sam and Josh on it to fix this. What is he going to do?
it's tough. He's going to smoke a cigarette while he thinks about it.
He's going to smoke a ciggy, which is, and then
He's
they're
going to light it up, smoke it up.
Light it up, up, up. Ultimately, I think they're going to release Juan Aguilar, who's like the big baddie, who
Yeah, he's a big
is the
baddie.
most violent cartel leader.
We have to be careful with the word baddie. I just heard that the word baddie now means like hot chicks, so or
Oh,
hot
yeah.
dudes. So
No,
maybe
that's
we
been
should.
for a while.
Has that been for a while? I'm just now
Yeah.
finding out. It's just all trickling up to Gen X here. So
Yeah,
maybe
you're
we
like,
don't
you're
call
a
Juan a
baddie.
baddie.
Well,
You're a
he is
baddie.
I mean, okay, but like words have multiple meanings, you know?
That's true.
And he's a baddie.
I also learned some other things recently. When we say
how?
clocked, you say clocked, and you do your fingers like this. Clocked.
Wait, clocked means you got it
Clocked.
right?
You saw it.
Oh,
Like if you're talking about being at the beach and getting tanner, I'd be like, clocked. Notice that. Saw that you look tan.
do I look tan?
You look tan. Clocked. Now, if somebody ate, okay, not like they ate a donut,
Food.
but like no, it ate, right? Like
Like their
you do this.
outfit.
Yeah, it ate.
So that's a
You do
different
this.
finger. What is this?
This is
So
middle,
clocked?
and you have to do multiple. Clocked is one. You hold. It's clocked, and it sometimes can just be one finger, or it can be two. And then 8 is going to be both. And if you have big fingernails,
Oh, you tap
You know?
them for a little
you could tap
ASMR.
them. Yeah. Anyways,
If we know about this, it's already past its time.
yeah. I did find out with a bunch of millennials who are probably your age, or a few of them at dinner the other night.
Yeah.
And they were telling me, I was like, okay, well, now I know.
They probably read about it in a New York Times article,
Yes.
which is the signs of the times.
Written by a boomer. So,
I mean, those are really the big things from this episode. It was
Yeah.
a lot.
it was a lot. I have an interesting fact. We talked a lot about in the last couple of episodes how so much of this in season 2 is happening during the general election of 2000, and then the hanging Chad, and then Al Gore's concession speech, and they had to push back one of the airings, so they only had one episode in the month of December. So episode 11 of season 2, which was called Leadership Breakfast, is the last episode to air during the Clinton administration. So it aired, and then the following week he was George W. Bush, your good buddy, was inaugurated. So,
Which is interesting because the leadership breakfast is all about crossing the aisle and doing this demonstration. And then turns out it's like, no, this was a trap. And now we're coming for you because we're also running for president. It's only 2 more years. Interesting.
yeah,
Yowzer
just a little fun
wowzers.
fact. Yeah. Well, you've already made a couple of predictions that normally we would do in Prediction Town, but I know what it's like when you're like dreaming about a quick vacation and you want to kind of like get ahead of yourself and have some ideas. So I'd be curious if you'd be
Frozen.
willing to actually go on a trip to Prediction Town.
I'm clocking it.
Except that
Clock,
you're frozen
clock,
right now. So
Clack, clack,
this
clack,
could be a fun
clack,
clip for
clack.
us to get. There we are.
Clack,
You
clack,
clocked
clack,
that,
clack,
but you
clack, my
froze. Clocked
freezing.
it.
Now you're frozen. Am I still frozen?
Yeah.
Now we're back.
Yeah. Now we're back. So, yes, clocked that. So you're just going to start doing that all the time. I love that you made some fun predictions earlier, and I know what it's like when you're planning a vacation and you kind of get ahead of yourself a little bit. So I was wondering if we could actually go on that trip to Prediction Town so you could make some predictions.
I would love to.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right.
Do you hear me? I'm walking on the sand.
You're walking on the sand. Yeah.
Oh, here I am. What a beautiful sunset.
Great.
I think I said a couple. I think that Donna's going to have to maybe be transferred out of Josh's department away from being an assistant. But she has been making some good points, and she knows a lot, actually, even though she kind of hides behind this ditzy, almost assistant persona. So I wonder if she moves into a more like policy position within the administration when they start dating as opposed to being the assistant, because I think that'll be awkward. I think it's awkward to be in a relationship and your person's assistant, because then you're like their mom at work, and then how does that translate to
Yeah, that is weird.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I like it. I think releasing Juan Aguilar could have some consequences at the end of this season. It's kind of like, oh yeah, well, we got to get the hostages back, but what's going to happen next? So I think some other predictions. I think Toby is making some pretty big mistakes here. I think he might end up leaving, getting fired maybe.
Okay.
Which would give Josh an opportunity to step up into chief of staff, because I think he would be great at that role. Maybe that's where, like, Josh starts dating Donna. The world's opening up for him. Opportunities are endless. Manifestation. Oh, wait, but Sam is, never mind. Sam would step into it. I don't know. Not too bad. Sam's growing on me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Heard
I
it
think
here
that's
first.
it. Heard it here first. I think you just need
Yeah.
the context of all of it before, you know. One question I did have that I forgot to ask was, what's the difference between like Charlie's job and Mrs. Lanahan? Lanahan.
Yeah.
Because Charlie's like going in to get the president to be like, we have to get to this appointment, which feels
Yeah.
like that should be Lanahan.
Lanahan. Yeah.
It's like they're both kind of doing
It's like
the
a
same work.
It's almost like a handler. So think about it as Miss Lanahan does a little bit more secretarial work, and she's there on the computer doing things, coordinating, making calls. Charlie's doing some of that, but Charlie travels with the president. So Mrs. Lanahan doesn't really travel with him. So somebody of that level of importance would have somebody who's like walking alongside all the time. Not the chief of staff, which is Leo, who's informing policy, procedures, policies, talking about all this stuff. But Charlie's there of like, hey, we've got to go. You've got an appointment in this. Or, hey, I'm going to get your coat. Like, let me do this. So more like on-site boots on the ground. Mrs. Lanahan is holding the fort back down at the office. So
Got it.
they do have some overlapping roles, which is the reason that they look at each other and they share a space right outside of the Oval Office. But Charlie gets up and goes, and he actually can't go home until the president goes to the residence. Mrs. Lanahan actually, I think, signs out at a little bit earlier time.
Interesting. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. That was just a
Yeah.
question I had while I'm sitting on vacation. Sometimes you're just like, oh, I'm in Prediction Town. Now I have a thought.
Yeah, I could see where that can be confusing, but one's more boots on the ground on the road, one's holding down the fort back at the office.
Great.
Thanks so much for tuning in. You can check us out on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere else you get your podcast. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review.
And if you don't know what to say in your review, you can say, I say no to drugs, but yes to only show fans. Dare I say, it's the best show on podcast streaming platforms.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
5
Okay.
stars.
5 stars.